Remember the summer of 2016? When parks were packed, people were chasing invisible creatures, and strangers actually talked to each other? That was Pokémon GO, the mobile game that blurred the line between digital and reality, and briefly made the world feel like one giant playground. But how did a nostalgic game app become a full-blown cultural phenomenon? Let's find out. This is what made it viral, where we dissect the social storms that shaped internet history. Today, we're jumping into the app that turned sidewalks into Pokestops, gyms into battle zones, and your local 7-Eleven into a hotspot for grown adults catching digital rats. This is the story of Pokémon GO. We'll explore how the idea started, what made it explode, the moment it truly tipped, how it went global in days, and the legacy it left behind. To understand Pokémon GO, we have to rewind. Not to 2016, but to April Fool's Day, 2014. That's when Google Maps and the Pokémon Company teamed up for a one-day joke, allowing users to catch Pokémon hidden across Google Maps. It was an Easter egg, but it went viral. People loved the idea of finding Pokémon in real-world locations. It was like a digital treasure hunt, but with nostalgic rewards. Suddenly, finding a Charmander near the Eiffel Tower didn't seem crazy. Enter John Honke, founder of Niantic Labs, a company spun out from Google that had been experimenting with location-based gaming through an earlier title called Ingress. Ingress was like Pokémon GO's older, quieter sibling. Players from different factions would capture real-world locations and fight over territory, kind of like King of the Hill meets Foursquare. It didn't hit mass appeal, but it was a powerful proof of concept. Niantic had the tech, the Pokémon Company had the IP, and mobile phones had the scale. In 2015, Niantic, Nintendo, and the Pokémon Company announced the development of Pokémon GO. It was ambitious. Use real-world maps. Add AR, augmented reality features. Let players catch Pokémon in physical locations. It sounded niche. It became anything but. Even early demos showed promise. At a tech conference, attendees gasped when a Pikachu appeared on the screen, standing in the middle of the real world. The fantasy was now tangible, and people were ready. Pokémon GO launched in July 2016, and within 24 hours, it was a phenomenon. The app topped the charts in the US, Australia, and New Zealand. Within a week, it had more active users than Twitter. Within 2, it was on more phones than Tinder. That summer, it felt like everyone was outside. People weren't just going for walks. They had purpose. You'd see crowds gathered near libraries and murals, not for selfies, but because there was a rare Blastoise nearby. People were walking miles to hatch eggs, congregating at gyms for battles, visiting landmarks to spin Pokestops, forming Facebook groups, meetups, walking clubs. If you visited a major park that summer, you remember it. You didn't need a map. You just followed the flow of people staring at their phones and yelling, "I got it!" YouTube creators live-streamed hunts. Twitch streamers chased rare finds. News outlets called it a new kind of social interaction. Even businesses got involved. Stores put up signs, "Pokémon trainers welcome." Coffee shops bought in-app lures to bring customers. Zoos and museums became unexpected hubs of foot traffic. It was the perfect storm. Nostalgia from millennials who grew up with Pokémon, the novelty of AR gaming, the social buzz of mass participation. A tech writer joked, "It's the first time a video game got people off their couch and onto someone else's lawn." One player tweeted, "Pokémon GO has done more for my mental health in 24 hours than any app ever has." That tweet alone got 50K likes, and all of it powered by GPS, smartphones, and a brand that had already spent 20 years building love. The tipping point wasn't just the downloads, it was the cultural takeover. Within 2 weeks, Pokémon GO was making $1.6 million per day. Nintendo's stock price surged by 50%. Police departments issued PSAs about playing safely. You'd see things like a stampede in Central Park after a rare Pokémon appeared, hundreds running toward the same digital dot. A wedding party pausing photos because a Gyarados appeared. A pastor interrupting his sermon after spotting a wild Dragonite near the altar. Even parents who'd never gamed before were downloading it, just to join their kids on walks. This wasn't just virality, it was mainstream invasion. It was like the internet broke through your screen and started walking next to you. It was the kind of lightning in a bottle product that no ad campaign could replicate. Because it wasn't about advertising, it was about experience. When a game makes the evening news, it's a hit. When it becomes part of morning traffic reports, city planning conversations, and late-night monologues, it's a movement. Jimmy Fallon even dedicated an entire segment to it, joking, "You know the world's changed when adults sprint through traffic to catch a Snorlax." Pokémon GO's international rollout was staggered due to technical limits, but fans didn't wait. They found workarounds, changing Apple ID locations, downloading APKs from sketchy forums, sharing maps of confirmed spawn points. Because by then, FOMO had set in, and from Tokyo to Toronto, Berlin to Buenos Aires, people were out in full force. One Japanese grandmother became a viral sensation after modifying her bicycle to hold 60 phones, all playing Pokémon GO simultaneously. In Sweden, retirement homes encouraged seniors to play the game as a walking incentive. In the Philippines, malls hosted lure hours to attract customers, offering deals tied to in-game activity. In Paris, players gathered along the Seine not for wine or picnics, but for high-level raids. Tourists started planning their trips around local Pokémon maps. Even war-torn areas saw kids playing it in ruined streets, proving that escapism, play, and connection transcend boundaries. And thanks to social media, the content never stopped. TikTokers shared best catching locations. Instagrammers flexed their AR screenshots like digital trophies. YouTubers published egg hatching speed tests and route strategies. Niantic doubled down, hosting official GO Fest events, partnering with Starbucks, McDonald's, and Uniqlo, dropping new generations of Pokémon and shiny variants. They also experimented with in-game social features like friend lists, gift exchanges, and player versus player battles, creating a sense of digital intimacy that mirrored the physical experience. Pokémon GO had become more than a trend, it was a worldwide ritual. So what did Pokémon GO leave behind? First, the numbers. Over 1 billion downloads and over $6 billion in revenue as of 2023. Still updated regularly with a loyal player base. Second, a model. It proved AR could be more than a gimmick. Geogaming had legs. Nostalgia could fuel innovation. It inspired others. Harry Potter, Wizards Unite, RIP, Jurassic World Alive, Pikmin Bloom, Peridot, also by Niantic. But none captured the same magic. Why? Because Pokémon GO wasn't just a game. It was a moment, a rare alignment of a technology ready to scale, a brand with emotional weight, a social media ecosystem to amplify it. A generation primed for nostalgia, it changed how people view outdoor space. It turned the sidewalk into a canvas. It influenced how fitness apps use gamification, how cities think about digital placemaking, how AR is used in retail and tourism. And it even reshaped how Google and Apple think about location permissions and battery optimization. Even today, GoFest events still draw thousands. A teenager catching a shiny in 2024 might not remember 2016, but they're living in its wake. Today, it's easy to forget just how massive it was, but if you were there, you remember the stampedes, the laughter, the late-night poke runs. That sense of spontaneous connection between strangers, cities, and nostalgia itself doesn't happen often. Pokémon GO didn't just go viral, it rewired what mobile gaming could be. So what made Pokémon GO viral? It was a beloved brand, a tech innovation, AR plus location, a shared experience, a surprise hit. It brought digital magic into physical space, and for one unforgettable summer, it made the real world feel like a game. If you enjoyed this breakdown, subscribe and drop your favorite viral tech moment in the comments. This is what made it viral, where nostalgia, code, and culture collide. See you next time.